Hi everyone, this is Elena, and today I have a video for you using the memory MISTI for doing a quick background using smaller stamps. So I'm positioning my panel from Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock in the middle of the MISTI, and I'm just marking those where the edges are, so when I move it up and down I know where I'm going and I don't get kind of lost. So I'm using the transparency grid that I downloaded from the My Sweet Petunia website, and then I printed it on transparency. So I'm just lining a row of stamps. I'm using here 5 stamps from Here Art's Town and Essential stamp set. So those are smaller stamp sets, and to stamp each one individually to create this background will take a long time. So I'm just using the Memory MISTI to line everything up, and then the 12 by 12 size of the inside gives me the freedom to move up and down, left and right. So everything is lined there, and I'm just picking all the stamps using the lid of the MISTI. So next I'll just, when I pull those, the cardstock moves, so I'm just putting it back to the original position. And I'm inking my stamps first with Versamark so I get better impression, then with the Hero Arts Intense Black ink, and then I'm gonna stamp that row of houses. Next, I'm trying to see where the second row should go, so I'm just moving it to the right, like I'm just doing shift for about 4 inches, and then I need to determine for how many 4 squares, not inches, how many squares up or down I need to move this one. So I tried 3 and 4, and I decided to go with 3.5 squares up. It will be the same for going down, and then we have a little bit offset. So I'm stamping that row houses, and next I'm moving my paper to the right, to the left actually, to stamp that house on the edge. And I'm making sure again that I'm 3.5 squares offset in the upward position, and I'm just trying to position that house on the edge. So that looks good. I'm just gonna ink my stamp and stamp that one. Then I'm putting it back to the original position, and I'm moving another 3.5 squares up, so that makes a total of 7 squares up, and then I'm offsetting it for another 4 squares to the right, inking it and stamping again like I did for the previous row. So I'm just going to move this one to the right now. So I'm just making sure these houses are spaced properly. So I'm again 7 squares up from the original position, and now I'm positioning where those houses on the edge should go. So that looks good. I'll just ink it up and stamp over it. So next I'll do the last row that's on the bottom, and I moved it for another 3.5 squares up, so that makes a total of 10.5. I'm gonna ink up my stamp and stamp again. So next I'm gonna move my paper to the right and stamp that house in the corner. So there we go. Now I'm going back to the original position and going down 3.5 squares, and to the left another about 3 or 4, depending how much the houses you want to be offset from one another in each row. So now I'm moving to the right, stamping that one on the side, and I'm gonna repeat for the next row, another 3.5 squares down, and a few squares offset to the right. And I'm gonna go back to the far right and stamp those on the other side. So I'm inking it up and stamping again. And now the last row, I'm going another 3.5 squares down and stamping that entire row. So there we have that one. I'm just putting away my memory MISTI now, and I'm gonna pull out my mini MISTI because I'm gonna stamp just the sentiment, welcome to the neighborhood, a little house, and a tree. So I'm just lining it up on that mouse pad with the grid on the MISTI, the mini MISTI, and picking it up with the lid. Everything looks lined up good, lined up well. So next I'm just using some Versamark ink to stamp it on the black cardstock, and I will emboss it with Hero Arts white embossing powder. So there we have that one. And then use my heat tool to heat set it and melt that embossing powder. So that's done. So now I have all the pieces, and I'm going to use some of the Hero Arts Infinity dies, the circles and the rectangles, to cut my layer and the sentiment. So I'm using the circle for the sentiment, and then not the square, but the rectangle ones for my layer, and the fun foam that I'll use for mounting and adding dimension to my card. So I'm just using some microspore tape to secure the infinity dies to my layers. Next I'll pull out some fun foam and cut a little bit smaller layer out of it. So I'm just trimming this to size to fit into my big shot. So by the magic of TV, I have everything cut, and I have as well my card base, which is from black cardstock. So I'm just removing all the dies and tape. And next we'll assemble the card. So I'm just trying to see where I want to position that sentiment. So next I'm using some Tombow Extreme Adhesive, or the Stampin' Up sells it, Fast Fuse. And then I'll do the same. I'll apply some Fast Fuse on my card front, and then adhere the foam. When working with foam, it's easier to apply the adhesive onto the cardstock instead of directly onto the foam. So that's why I'm doing the way that I'm doing it. Next, I'll use some dimensionals to pop up that sentiment, and I'll adhere it to the left. With that, my card is done. Thanks for watching, and see you soon in another video. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot I decided to add a little bit more dimension and added some Nuva crystal drops, and to add a little bit more interest to my card. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye!